Ladies and gentlemen, if there is something that denies William Ruto peace, is the Gen Z's protest of June 25th, the year 2024. It is a horror movie, a nightmare. In fact, anytime you mention that name and that date, the Gen Z's, something like a bad dream comes in the mind of leaders, more so the Kenya Kwanza regime. But I came to realize that even the parliament was not left out, because that was the epicenter of the demonstration. According to BBC documentary, The Blood Parliament, it is because the parliament was the culmination of the Gen Z's protest. That is where a live fire was opened onto the life of innocent young Kenyans. That is the ground which painted Kenyan with a bad image in the face of international community. It was in the parliament which attracted the attention of international community. This is where the road ended for the Gen Z's protest. So today, Junet Mohammed had given a warning of any possibility of propaganda, false information regarding this year's finance bill.
Mr. Speaker, as in line with your communication, the real finance bill now has arrived in Parliament.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, you remember the last 2 months, let's say, there have been a finance bill that has been circulating and people discussing in public forums, claiming that, oh, there is this taxation, there is that taxation. We want to urge Kenyans from the floor of this House that the real finance bill is with us now. There should be no misinformation, disinformation, misrepresentation, and misinformation of the public, Mr. Speaker. The finance bill should be interpreted in accordance with what is written in the finance bill. And please, we have only one finance bill in the House. If you want to import your own things into the finance bill, that please don't mislead Kenyans. And the people I am talking to are exactly facing my eyes. I don't want to mention names, Mr. Speaker. They are looking at me in the eye. We know each other, Mr. Speaker. They're in this house, some of them. Please, let us tell the public exactly what is in the finance bill. If there are no more taxations, there are no more taxations. Let us not import things into the finance bill that does not exist.
You know, 2024-2025 finance bill was aimed at raising extra 346 billion Kenyan shillings to finance 2024-2025 budget. But Kenyans did not approve to that. But the government of Kenya tried to force it on the people. And therefore, people reacted by force through entering the parliament, where pieces of legislations are made. But ladies and gentlemen, before I go further and further, allow me to invite whoever is coming across this channel for the first time to please take a moment, a minute or two, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And to our subscribers, we want to thank you, because if it wasn't your support, this channel would have not been where it is at the moment. Welcome back, because it is not our intention to waste your precious time. Stay tuned. Now, do you know what finance bill means? Finance bill is made by the National Treasury. It is a ways through which government raise revenues to finance their budget for development and other expenditures. So finance bill is made by the National Treasury. And once it is made by the National Treasury, then it is taken to Parliament for approval. And once it is so approved, those tax policies are adopted into law. Hence, the government now start implementing those taxes to help them collect more revenue from different sectors of the economy. In 2024-2025, there were clauses in that finance bill which were controversial and led us to what was known as the Gen Z's protest. Because the Gen Z's protest started as a way of rejecting finance bill. And that was the clarion call during all these protests. Let's take, for example, in that bill, there was a tax on essential goods or commodities. But this one touched directly on the lives of common mwananchi. This was going to be felt by the common people because it added 16% on bread, which is highly consumed in Kenya, and 25% of the cooking oil, which is also highly consumed commodity. This made Kenyans very furious. Kenyans were upset by the level of dehumanization from this government. If they can heavily tax goods and services which the people of Kenya use on daily basis. Another clause which also sparked a mixed reaction was the eco levy. And this eco levy was to add taxes on diapers, on batteries, and also on plastic packages. You know, according to the government, the explanation was that since the plastics and the batteries and diapers are not environmental friendly, by adding more taxes on these products will discourage the use, and hence it will reduce amount of plastics and diapers and chemicals from the batteries that are exposed to the environment and in the soil and also water sources. But do you know amount of diapers people consume in this country? Do you know that almost everything that we use for packaging are plastic materials? Then it means that life was going to be expensive and costly for Kenyans once these areas are touched. But it was not only common people that were touched by this finance bill. Do you know that even the working class, the middle class, the rich, and everyone was affected? There was a clause in this finance bill which allow the KRA to access your finances, accounts, without court order. This one was seen or perceived to be infringement of the right to privacy. Then the citizens had to unite in one way or the other to support the Gen Z's movement to go to the road to express their dissatisfaction with this bill. Furthermore, the content creators were also not left behind. And in the modern economy, which Kenyan government, led by President William Ruto, has measured so much as a way to improve the lives of youths, to create more employment in the digital economy. Once youths go digital, as I do now, the government had intention to chop some of your incomes and revenues that you get from the contents that you create, that you are paid through the social medias. The government also intended in that bill, the reason why it was rejected, that the transaction taxes had to apply. Whenever you do any transaction through the banks or mobile services, mobile banking, mobile money, that transaction had to have some levies that will go into the pocket, into the pocket of the government. So that is why the government of Kenya, when the BBC timed this period and season to unleash that documentary, the government of Kenya saw it as a way of deconstructing them and to remind Kenyans what they had forgotten or they had started to heal from the issue of finance bill. And for that reason, the government has chose to be very, very vigilant. But the opportunists are going to take this to take political mileage concerning the next finance bill 2025-2026, which will be the last before Ruto's regime first term go back to the test.